Welcome everyone. Today's recipe is Hyderabadi Baingan. It's inspired by one of Chef Ranveer Barar's recipe, but my recipe is oil-free. Oh my God, it was mad delicious. Okay, to start off, I will link Chef Barar's recipe in the description box, the original one that inspired me. So I'm trying to follow his recipe with the ingredients that I have. So I'm roasting one onion on the flame, and in a pan I've got 1/3 cup of peanuts that I roasted for about a minute, and then I added a 1/4 cup of coconut. I just had the dry coconut, so I used that. And after about another minute of roasting those two together, I added a tablespoon of sesame seeds. So this is peanuts, coconut, this desiccated coconut. I mean, obviously, if you have fresh, use fresh. I presume that's better. I don't have that. And sesame seeds, and just roast it on a low flame till it kind of is well roasted, and you can tell it kind of gives a nice fragrance, and the peanuts start getting all shiny, and at the end add about a teaspoon of salt, turn off the heat, and then put that aside and let it cool, and mince the onion, the roasted onion, and grind up the other three nuts that we've roasted. So in a pan here, I'm going to steam my eggplants. I've cut it into half to help steam it, and just added a little bit of water, and I covered it. Now these eggplants, I steamed them by themselves, just adding a little water at a time. I steamed them 10 minutes, and then they were sort of partially cooked, and then we'll see how it went. So in my other pan, here is the roasted onion that I then pureed in my food processor. So I've added that to my pan. No oil here. I have to say, I mean, I did a calculation, and I think by omitting the oil from all the spots that Chef Brar had put it in, including this spot, he put a couple of tablespoons of oil here. He deep fried the eggplant, and then he added a couple more tablespoons at the end. I cut, by eliminating all of those oil steps, I cut about I would say 700 calories from the recipe, so it's not bad. So here to my onions, I've added some minced garlic and minced ginger, and some slit green chilies, and I'm just going to saute this in its own juices, because for now I have enough juice over here to saute this without sticking. And I am using a non-stick pan, so hopefully it won't stick, but sometimes it does stick. Now I'm not going to do the tadka or the bagar at the end, so I just added my curry leaves right here, and I'll just let it impart the flavor into the masala starting right at the beginning. And always oil-free cooking is low and slow, so I've got my heat on medium low for both the steaming of the eggplant and for the cookout on the masala. And as you can see, I'm checking on my eggplants periodically, putting my timer on so I don't forget about them. And I'm checking because sometimes the oil will evaporate, and I don't want the eggplants to burn. I want them to steam. So I keep adding a little water as the water evaporates. So over here, my masala is, I think, good enough to add this triple blend of coconut, peanuts, and sesame seeds that I'd roasted and ground up. I think I used about 1/3 of it. I kind of figured, okay, I'll see how it tastes and then go from there. And as it turns out, well, maybe a little bit more than 1/3, but definitely less than a half. This was actually enough. So I've added about a teaspoon and a half of dhania powder. I've also added half a teaspoon of garam masala, and here I will add about a teaspoon of roasted cumin powder. Later on, I will, when the curry is almost done, I will taste it and adjust it for salt. At this point, I'm not going to add more salt because there is salt in the peanut sesame coconut mixture. So I don't want to add too much salt. So I cook it out for a few minutes, and at this point, I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of yogurt. And mix that in. Now Chef Bagara added some tamarind pulp and jaggery in his recipe. I don't have either, but what I do have is my tamarind date chutney, which has both sweet and sour notes. So I'm just going to add about a couple of teaspoons of the tamarind date chutney and call it a day. And hopefully that would be enough. So I'm going to mix it all up. I did taste it and it wasn't sour enough, so I will come back and add a bit of lemon juice to make it more sour. So obviously the chutney wasn't sour enough, and my yogurt is not sour enough because yogurt is rarely sour, and so I did need that extra teaspoon of lemon juice to add the sour notes and just balance the flavor. So here, my eggplant is sort of soft. It's not fully cooked, but it is soft. So I'm going to finish cooking it with the gravy now. Chef Bagara did not do this step. He deep fried his eggplant and then arranged it nicely on top of the gravy, and it made a good picture. But I really need my eggplants to soak in the flavors of this gravy, because I have to tell you, at this point I was so impressed with the taste of the gravy. It was just crazy delicious. I couldn't stop eating it even as it was cooking. So I knew I wanted to finish cooking the eggplants in the gravy so that they soaked up some of that flavor. And I was right. I added more water from time to time, but I cooked the eggplant for another 10 minutes on very slow heat in this gravy. I had to keep adding water because I guess whatever the coconut and the peanuts and the sesame and the eggplant, everything was just madly soaking up the liquid. So I kept adding water to keep the consistency. And later on, actually, when I was reheating it, I actually added more water as well. So literally every time you heat it, you have to add more water. But it was absolutely delicious. And I had it with a little bit of rice. It was so yummy, guys. You must try it. And if you do like it, subscribe and share.